Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. And we're so glad that you're in our audience today, whether you're watching us live now or if you're just listening to it later on. Not just, if you're listening to it later on, you're as important as anyone. Or if you're watching the video later, we're really happy that you decided to be a part of our audience. George Dismuke said, I had to wade through spoiled dogs to get here, but I'm here.
All right.
Well, give her a love to Daisy and Gizmo. And Nadine. Yes. And Paul Hollis says, evening, Rob,
Hey,
Joan, and Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles team.
There you go.
And Joe Conjal said, hi, Rob and Joan, and citizens of Magnolia Bluff.
Oh, they're all dead.
Yeah. We knew you meant Mbcc, Paul. Yeah, everybody's died. We murdered them all, and I'm sorry.
Not sorry.
Listen, sorry, not sorry.
Okay. Well.
Yes. Go ahead.
It's another Wednesday. I will. This Saturday on Rewind. I want to remind everybody, 5:30 p.m. right here where you're watching right now. This coming Saturday is Aaron Ryan is going to be on with his repeat performance. Next live is next Wednesday, November 20th, and it's repeat also. Sarah, it's not a repeat show, it's a new show, but it's a repeat guest. It's Sarah Driscoll with Summit's Edge.
It's a live new show with Sarah Driscoll, who's been on our show before, is what he's trying to say.
And then on Thursday, November 21st, is the Campfire, Haunted Campfire Tales broadcast, 7:30 p.m., and just go to the Haunted Campfire page on Facebook. And we're going to have the May Stringer investigation that we did last Saturday. We're going to have the reveal and show you a few good things anyway that we discovered. We're not done going through everything.
Good stuff.
We did.
We did get some good stuff, guys. It was, and one of our authors that's been on here, Steve Altier and his wife Tony came with us, and they want to go every time. They were like, I can't believe it. Here's Richard Schwint.
Hey,
he said, good evening, everyone. Well, actually, he said evening, everyone. Hey, Richard.
Okay, well, tonight we have the last three authors for Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles for this year. And we'll take them.
Bring them on now.
Here. We're going to bring you all on here.
Hello, Jim.
Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
And JINX.
Hey, JINX.
Hey, everybody. Welcome aboard. How are you all tonight?
Hey, so I'm not.
Fantastic.
There we go.
This Joe Conchal said fun. Anyone sitting on a toilet? Oh, no, you mean the ghost show.
Oh, my goodness. No, not our guests. Goodness.
Wait a minute. I'm not in ghost hunting. No, he's talking about a picture he's talking about a picture that we have of evidence, and it's literally a spirit sitting on the toilet.
At least he's in the bathroom.
He's in the bathroom
and
sitting.
It looks like he's sitting. So, at any rate, that's
what a fun way to die. Yeah. Joe Conchal said yes. The ghost show.
Good lead in there, Joe.
Oh my goodness.
It's going to be a long night.
Yes, it is going to be a long night.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Why don't we talk to JINX?
Yeah,
first?
JINX, you had a little surgery yesterday, so you're healing up and you may need to leave early. So we'll talk to you. You're actually the last book for the year. And it's book 31 in the series. What's the title of your new book?
It's well, actually, I just changed the title today.
Oh, goodness.
Yes, I'm not quite there yet.
There you go.
It's right. Well, I started out with the Bluebonnet Murders.
The Blue
And I
Bonnet
didn't
Murders?
like that. And I went
All
to
right.
Bluebonnet Murder. So now I've gone the Bluebonnet Conspiracy.
The Blue Bonnet
Cool.
Conspiracy. That sounds interesting. And we know
George
that's
says JINX is purple. Yeah, she's in an RV, so that lighting is as good as it's going to get, George.
yeah. Now the Blue Bonnet is very near and dear to people in Texas, right?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Well, my main character is named Bluebonnet.
Ah, Blue
There
Bonnet.
you go.
There you go. When is your book released?
Well, I've been thinking about that. I was heading like I did last year for December 20th.
Right around December 20th.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But it's not available for pre-release yet. You don't even have
Well,
it.
it will be. It will be.
It will be.
Before long.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you'll have it for pre-order before long.
Yes,
Kelly's
I
is
will.
on
Always.
pre-order right now. We've already ordered it. Already bought Jim's, read it,
Yeah.
gave him a
I'm on
review.
pre-order. What's that? The 20th?
Pardon
Thank
me?
you. Thank you.
You're
Jim's-
welcome.
Was
What'd you
Jim's
say,
book
Jake?
coming on the 20th?
Jim's?
What? I'm sorry.
Jim's is
book
out right now.
is out already.
Yes,
I've
it's
already-
out now.
Oh,
Yes,
it just
out
came out.
now.
Okay, I haven't.
came out
checked.
the 20th of October.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kelly's is coming out
Kelling's is coming
November
out
20th.
November
maybe
20th.
that's the one I'm waiting for.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one's available for pre-order. Can you tell us a little bit about the Blue Bonnet Conspiracy?
Yes, of course. We start off with a murder, of course.
Of course.
Surprise.
And my character, Blue, she ends up being under suspicion because it turns out she's inheriting all the money. And so there you go. And it's then they decide, the committee, which is Save Blue's ass. So
There you go.
we'll be giving her away, getting in her way and everything. And so what they're doing is they've teamed up with a lot of the characters that you'll recognize. Doc Curlick's in there, Buck and Sheriff Buck and some others. And they're going to solve it because the police aren't doing anything.
That sounds like Magnolia Bluff.
Yeah, there's a new deputy in this one. He was hired by the mayor, who is his uncle. And so he's the one who's starting all the rumors that it had to be Blue who did it.
Who's the new mayor? Is it anybody we know?
Yeah, I don't have a mayor's name yet. Has anybody got it?
No.
Well, I'll look, and if there isn't one, maybe I'll name him. It's going to be a he.
Probably,
Okay.
probably Mr. Green.
Do we have a mayor?
I thought somebody named him somewhere.
Jim, did you have the mayor in your book? I just finished your book. I should remember. I know
No.
you had Buck Blanton on there, the sheriff.
I used Buck a lot, but I did not have the mayor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
You didn't kill Buck, did you?
No,
No.
We love Buck.
no. He's a tough character. Probably couldn't kill him anyway.
Be hard to kill him.
Oh, yeah.
Richard Schwint is like, Mayor? We have a mayor?
Here?
We do now, Richard.
Well, here's the problem with the Magnolia Bluff Police Department. Instead of being elected, the chief of police is appointed by the mayor. And there's a lot of nepotism going on.
So Tommy has been appointed
Tommy's-
by the mayor.
Yeah, well, Tommy's there, but he can't do anything about this jerk because it's the mayor's nephew.
Tommy's the chief of police.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But Tommy can't fire him because of the mayor. And so Buck gets involved because he's elected and he doesn't have anybody telling him what to do.
No, and he doesn't care. He's tough.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't. He really doesn't. He's going to do what's right, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They found a
Yes.
loophole whereas Buck can get involved.
Right. Right. Well, sounds good. It does. It sounds very good.
Thanks.
I'd like to know more, but we can't have any spoilers.
Oh no, no spoilers. No, I love writing these books. My other series, I just wrote number 16. It's getting a little stale for me. I have to come up with something every time. So this is fun for me.
Yeah. You're going to keep doing your other series, though, right?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, my character in Magnolia Bluff series is a spinoff because
Yep.
Blue is Hedda's my main
Hedda's
protagonist.
cousin,
It's
right.
a cousin. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember from your other book.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Blue. I like Blue.
Yeah. We
She's
like
an artist. Yeah. We know Blue couldn't have killed anybody.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
She's learning.
we don't know.
She's learning from Hedda.
I'm living in Magnolia
She's
Bluff.
been living in Magnolia Bluff for a while now.
Yeah.
Which Richard just said in his recent book, it's a murderous
It's a
town.
murderous town.
Well, it's just murderous.
Yes, and it is too.
I asked CW if anyone had anyone counted the number of murders, and I guess nobody has yet.
No, have any of you counted how many?
No,
No.
No, I haven't
know
either.
that the fastest growing industry in Magnolia Bluff is the cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's growing.
yeah, it is.
Well, I was going to put in the per capita, and that's why I was trying to come up with a number.
Yeah. Joe Conjal said, "Is Blue's lawyer friend going to be in this book? She's a great character."
You mean Gloria? Oh yeah, she's in it up to her neck.
Good. I imagine she's on the committee, right?
Oh yeah, but officially, because she's Blue's lawyer,
She can't be
has
on the committee.
kind of tippy toe around and has been known to stick her fingers in her ears, go la 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 la, la. Or I didn't hear that, or I'm not there.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, excellent. You want to tell people who your other series is about?
Yes, Head of Coffee.
Mhm.
By the way, that was my grandmother's name, and I loved that name. And I was always, once I got old enough to figure it out, that I wasn't named after her. I was mad at my parents. Anyway, Head of Coffee is a sassy Texan with a snazzy yacht, and she's not afraid to use it.
Just like you.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
Anyway, she lives in Sea Cortez on her boat, and it jumps across the border back and forth all the time, as you know, since you read the last one, and gets into border skirmishes all the time. And she's not at all worried. She's kind of like Buck, tippy toe around the law. No, just shoot it and go.
I like Buck. I like Buck a lot.
Yeah.
We'll have to use him in our next book.
Yeah.
We didn't use him in our last one.
No.
But there's always next time.
I've had him even in my Hedda books. So there you go.
Well, good. He's a good character.
There's a lot of crossovers here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's really an art in itself to keep everybody straight, isn't it?
Yes, it is. If I were still working in engineering, I would have a whiteboard that went all around the room with little arrows and charts and stuff.
Have a spreadsheet.
My readers are the ones who keep me straight on that. Because they comment on the characters quite often, and then I have to go back and look and go, oh yeah.
Joe Conjal says, JINX, Blue is a wonderful artist. How about you? Do you paint?
I used to. I made a living with it when I was going to school in Brussels. I had
Really?
an I had an atelier, and I mostly did batik, but I also did lithograph.
I love batik.
I do too. It's a great art.
We're
You know,
showing our age too.
I know. What? No, just look in the stores.
Well,
Batik
that's
is
true.
out there.
But batik was very, very popular in the 60s.
Yeah. Well, I went whole hog and bought a janting, which is a little tool you pour the wax in, so you
Yeah.
can do very fine lines. And I
Yeah.
would I did silk, and I'd do up to 20 colors on one piece of silk.
Wow.
Yeah. Batik is beautiful because you get so much more than you can with just what do you call that other thing? Where tie-dye.
Tie-dye.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Tie-dye is just,
Yeah.
using elastics and different
Yeah.
colors, but batik is really painting.
You can tell people's age by the fact that they have a long white ponytail and a tie-dye shirt.
You're going to tell everybody where to reach her?
Yes. Let me bring that up. Okay. So this is JINX's website. It's JINX at JINX.com. And for those of you who are listening on Spotify and all those other wonderful sites, it's JINXSCHWARTZ @JINX JINX.com. So JINX, what can we find on your website? Are we able to email you there? Is your social media on there?
Yeah, you can email me from there, and the other thing is, I always put my email in the back of every book, and I want people to contact me.
So buy the book so you can get her email.
Well, yeah. Or get a free book. I have free books all the time.
There you go.
Do you have a mailing list?
Yes, it's actually I have a newsletter, and that is posted generally on my. I think it's posted every whenever I do it. I'm not very good about sticking to it.
Whenever I do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my schedule on it. Stick it to it.
Yeah.
And links to your social media.
Yes,
on
she
there
said
as well,
yes.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
all those. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And
Sounds
so
good.
I honestly, doing 2 books a year, I don't have time to do a lot, but I do pretty good. I don't have a social life, but other than that,
We hear you.
Well, you have social media, so you don't really need a social life.
yeah, I guess not. Well, I actually play cards every evening.
Ah, there you go.
That's
Do
my
you?
social life. I have some friends down here on the beach, and we play cards,
Well,
What do you play?
hand and foot, and samba.
Well, right now you just play foot because your
Yeah.
hand is.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was only yesterday, and I'm already typing,
That's
They told-
awesome.
That's great.
and it's not swollen, and it's actually doing pretty good.
Well, good. That's great.
Well,
Okay.
we've got to go and give our sponsors some time here.
Yeah.
So,
When we come back, we're going to talk to James about his book.
mhm.
So, everybody hang on. Don't go away. Got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yep, we'll be right back.
This novel, set against the backdrop of the English Civil War, explores love and survival amidst the chaos of war. It combines historical events with personal narratives, highlighting the impact of conflict on individuals and families. England, 1642. When bloody civil war breaks out between the king and parliament, families and communities are driven by different allegiances. Red Winter Journey is a sweeping tale of adventure and loss, sacrifice and love, with a unique and unforgettable story of a mother's love for her son at its heart. A historic journey of twists, turns, and a dash of spirited passion.
I finished reading the book a couple of days ago. It was a great read. The plot was indeed compelling, and I loved the conclusion. What I particularly enjoy in Paul's novels is his vivid recounting of historical details as to the social and cultural sides at the time. His characters are very likable and relatable.
It's 1919, and Eric Laska returns from the war in Europe. Two new enemies await him in the small coal mining town he calls home. One is a threat to his relationship with Rebecca, the love of his life. The other, a bloodthirsty beast, is stalking the mining town residents. The townspeople suspect Eric of one of the killings. An old man and Rebecca's 11-year-old sister have seen the beast, but only Eric believes their story. To protect the town and clear his name, he's forced to prove the werewolf exists. Available on Amazon. The Horror Within by Marjorie Swift Doring.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Now comes part 4 in the Jaguar series by retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. In this saga, Brandon, Andrea, and Naja, the Black Jaguar, go deep into the Mato Grosso jungle on a mission to rescue 2 kidnapped children. During their journey, they encounter many dangers, including Yanomami Indians, bent on revenge for the murder of one of their warriors.
Return of the Jaguar is book 4 in the Jaguar series, starting with 2 Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and the Jaguar's Quest. All 4 are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other bookseller websites worldwide. Return of the Jaguar is a must-read.
And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Hello, Jim.
Oh,
So
glad to be here.
we're really glad that you are here too. This is Jim's book, When a Sure Thing Fails, Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles, book 29. I like your cover. It's really nice. It's good.
We're very, very pleased with the way the cover came out.
Oh, yeah.
It's and the cover designer is very easy to work with.
He
He
is.
captures a lot of what you're aiming for, and maybe you're not explaining it very well. But he will capture that and put it in there, and I'm quite pleased with him.
Yeah.
Of course, this
Yeah.
is part of the modern age that he is in. Well, I don't know, England or Scotland or sometimes Ireland,
Yeah.
but it works out very nicely.
Yes. And he's amazing. I mean, he really is. We love the work that he does. It's just beautiful. So I love your main character, your protagonist, Eula. She's my age, exactly. And yeah, so I like her. She's spunky and quick on her feet, and I really like her. You want to tell people a little synopsis without any spoilers of what this book is about?
Well, I'll give you a little bit of background. I have a series called the Crystal Moore Suspense Series. And Eula is the grandmother of Crystal. And when I started to write this book, I'm thinking I'm going to bring Crystal down here into Magnolia Bluff. But as I thought of some of the situations that I would get into there, I thought, well, no, Eula would be really good to put in that situation and how she would handle it. And the more I thought about it, I said, it has to be Eula's book. It can't be Crystal's book. Crystal can come down and get involved, but it has to be Eula's book. And she is such a great character. And as you've said, she is very spunky. She is not afraid of anything.
Nope.
And, she just, and she often has her trusty shotgun.
Bessie.
Bessie, yes. So it became a Eula Moore book, and I was very pleased once I got into it that I had made that switch. She not only deserved a book because she is such a great character, but she fit this storyline quite well. And I don't think it's much of a spoiler to say she gets kidnapped, and the kidnappers don't know what to do. They can't handle her. So it made for a good book, and I was very pleased that I did go with Eula.
Oh yeah, I love the story. I love that she's such a caring, good person.
Yes.
She really cares about people. She says her prayers every night. She's just she's a wonderful, vibrant lady, and she doesn't take anything off of anybody. So I mean, I really like her.
Yes. I got a review the other day, and the woman said, that's me. Well, that's what I want to be. So,
exactly. Yeah, that's a great review when someone can relate to your character to say that's me.
yeah.
Richard Schwintz says, Eula is remarkable, the most resourceful character I have read recently. Yes, I know. Yeah, that's what I like too. She was very resourceful. She was quick thinking in adverse conditions because she was kidnapped.
She was, and she says in there, they've got guns and whatever they've got, but I have a better brain.
Yes, she did.
She proves that.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure to write her, and to have the change in there from where I started out to elevate her up. And I guess actually, I don't know that I really elevated her up. I think she elevated herself up. I started doing a little bit with a little dialogue and a little bit with her, and she just took hold. So,
and every author knows exactly what you mean, that you start to write something and then your characters are like, nope, I don't think so. And then you're like, giddy up, here we go.
Yes. So that's one of the joys of writing.
Yes, that our characters are so real. Joe Conjal says, hi, Jim. Of all the different characters you've brought to life over the years, do you have a favorite?
It could be Eula, and she's only been the principal character in this one book, but she's been prominent in other books. I might put her there, and part of it is that she, to me, she offers a lot. That, as you've mentioned, she has a soft side, and she's very caring about people. She's got all of that side of her, but she also has this other side that I won't be dominated. I will figure out what to do. I will use my head, and I will make things work out the way I want them to work out.
Yeah.
So it's a great character to work with. Now, I'm going to mention very briefly that when I first wrote her in the first Crystal Moore book, she was patterned after an aunt that I had. And I really thought that would be in one book, but she just has stayed with it. That aunt, unfortunately, is long gone, but she had some of the characters that Eula has.
I love that. That's great. And I like that you show that a person can be caring and loving and also stand up for themselves, know who they are. She knows she's smarter than they are, and there's no false humility there, and there's no good comes from false humility anyway. And, I just really like her character a lot.
Well, thank you. I do too, frankly. And as I say, she started out just as a minor character 4 books ago, and today she got her own book. I was good. Glad.
Maybe you'll see a Eula series now? From the Crystal series?
I expect you'll see her again. Maybe a series, maybe not, but she'll be around. no doubt about it. Too good a character to leave. I will mention one other thing, and I don't know whether this is pertinent or not, but in maybe the second Christopher Moore book, it looks like she gets killed. And I went to my writers group and read a little piece of the book. And these are friends, all friends. It was the first time I've ever gotten booed from reading forward. And they were just unhappy, you can't kill her. You cannot kill her. And of course she wasn't, but it was funny because I just read the piece where she apparently was, and they were not happy about it. So
Well, that's good.
yes,
That's good.
it is. It's one of the joys of writing when something like that happens. It makes you feel really good. I've done something. Would you like if I got off of that topic a bit and just gave you something more personal for me?
Sure.
Sure.
You can
Which
talk
may
about
resonate
whatever you want.
with the writers. 3 years ago, I guess, I spent a lot of time in Mexico. Half my time in Texas, half my time in Mexico. That's where I first met JINX. In fact, we spoke on a conference together there. But I got very sick. I went to the hospital, and the doctors and my wife thought I was going to die, but I knew I wasn't going to, and I did come back and, got well. But we had decided before I went into the hospital that we were going to redo the kitchen here in Mexico. And so I came out of the hospital after literally 30 days in the hospital, 4 days unresponsive, 10 days in ICUs, bedtime. But we came out, and I would sit down and work on the design of the kitchen. And I could design all the stuff and lay it out in exact detail of what they should do. And then I would go in and I would sit down at the computer and I would start writing, because I was 4/5 of the way through a book. And I'd write and I would look at it and say, that's garbage. It's terrible. And the next day I would go in and I'd work on the plans, and everything would go beautifully. I'd go in and I'd sit down, and I could not write a sentence that I would accept. And that went on for about 3 weeks. And then one day I came in and I wrote something and said, wow, that's okay. I'll take it. So my right brain was slower to come back than my left brain. And I found that very interesting. But it did come back, just took a little bit longer. So that off the subject, but I get off the subject sometimes.
Oh,
that's
well,
okay.
we all do. That's
good.
interesting, though, that your left brain came back quick and your right brain. I'm just trying to think of why that would be. That's interesting.
I don't know now. I backing up a little more personal. I had intended to write when I got out of college. That did not support a family very well. And so I went into mathematics. And I spent 30 years as a mathematician, and that segued into computer science and so forth. And so I'm thinking that maybe I had spent so many years doing that my left brain could just get right into it.
Yeah.
When I went back to writing, which, by the way, I will say to you, it was a book that turned me around. My wife picked me up at the research center one day, 2 miles to the house, not very far, and I said, what's this book you're reading? And she said, it's not mine. I thought it was yours. I said, no, it's not mine. Sitting there on the seat of the car. Well, I finished it about 2 o'clock in the morning. Incredible book. And I just, and I thought, wait a minute, that's what I intended to do. It's time for me to get back to that. And somebody had brought that book to give to another person, and the person just stick it in my car. It's a red car, and they stuck it in a red car, but it wasn't their car.
my
It was
goodness.
our car. So surely by accident, they dropped it in there, and it kind of once more rearranged my life.
Jump started you to write.
Yes.
Well, I ask you what book it was?
It was called the Benedict Arnold Conspiracy. It was not really about Benedict Arnold. It was about the early days of missiles, and we had missile silos and things. But it was called the Benedict Arnold Conspiracy, and it was had one of the nice things that I recognized and have tried to remember, and that is it starts off right with a bang. Doesn't move into things slowly. It gets you going, because we had a 2-mile drive back, and I just flipped open to see what was in there and just kept on reading until 2 or 3 in the morning. So
Joe Conjal says God's intervention to help you.
I believe that. That's only one of the interventions that has happened to me over my life. So I believe strongly in that they do step in, and he or she steps in and points me, leads me, or at least kind of leans me in a different direction. And it's up to me to follow it.
Or not.
Or not.
Yeah. Or not. Yes.
Free will.
By the way, I have to say I've really enjoyed the Chance of a Ghost so much.
Thanks.
Because I have heard little bits about it in the past, but not from anybody who had really done it. And here you two have and do it, and it just made it so real to me. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, one of our authors just went on the latest investigation with us, and he and his wife both said, this is so different than we thought it would be. And they said, you can really feel the difference of what spirit is trying to communicate. They said, it's not like scary and ooey, and but it's very interesting. So we appreciated that so much. Well, let me put up your website. You want to read that?
Yeah, James's website is jamesrcallan.com. That's JAMESRCALLAN.com. That's for those that are just listening to the audio.
Mm-hmm.
Can we, are your
social media
links on there?
Probably not very evident. Probably hard to find.
Okay, but they'll have fun searching, right?
Yes, that's right. That's part of the fun, searching for things.
There you go.
Do you have like an email list or a newsletter or anything like that on there?
I do have an email list, and which I correspond with once a month. So it's not that they get inundated with a lot of stuff, but I try to do that once a month, sort of the same time, and it's interesting, and I get feedback from them occasionally, not as often as you'd like, of course, but it's always interesting to get it back. And one came back from somebody here in Mexico, which kind of shocked me first, because they don't do as much interacting on social media stuff here in Mexico. But it was nice to get a little response from them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I want to remind everybody, When a Sure Thing Fails, that's book 29 in the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles by James Callan. And that's available right now. It came out in October, I think October 20th. Mm-hmm. And you will not be disappointed.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I think what we need to do is answer this. What part of Mexico? George Dismix wants to know.
Puerto Vallarta. It's on the Pacific coast on a large bay. It's the largest bay in Mexico. Beautiful town, which we stumbled on by accident in 1995. We came down for 5 days to visit my sister, who had a place down there. My wife had never been to Mexico before. There was a man in the building who dealt in real estate, and every day he would say, "Whenever you're ready." And I said, "We're not interested in buying anything." And on the fourth day, he said, "Whenever you're ready." And I opened my mouth, and my wife said, 1 o'clock. We looked at 8 or 10 places, but mostly, and it's a beautiful place on the bay and everything, but mostly it's the people are so nice, so friendly, so helpful that she fell in love with the people.
And we bought one.
And we bought one on the way to the airport on the 5th day. Well, we said to the real estate guy, "Well, we'll call you when we get back to Texas. We've got to go catch a plane." He said, "I'll drive you to the airport." So on the way to the airport, we wrote out an offer, and have never regretted it.
That's good.
George says, "I know it well. Night of the Iguana was filmed there at Mismaola Beach. And no kidding, because it's full of iguanas there. Mismaola." Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And that, you know where the arches are in the bay? The stone arches? All right. I did a dive there, my first deep dive to get certified. And I went down, I think it was 140 feet.
Was it the McDonald's? No.
I'm not going down 140 feet.
Well, that was over 50 years ago. I wouldn't do it now. But yeah, I used to go scuba diving in Puerto Vallarta all the time. We didn't have a lot of ocean around Guadalajara.
No,
so I had to go.
It's a beautiful town. I like Guadalajara.
It is
it's very high and much
it's
cooler.
a mile high.
Yeah. Now, by the way, just one last thing. We have now progressed to our third condo down here, and because in those days we came down for a week vacation, and now we spend half of our time here, except in 2023 when we spent 11 months when I took my time in the hospital.
Yes.
And by the way, the hospital here was great for us. The people, the doctors and nurses were great.
Good to know.
That's good to know.
It is good to know.
And a friend told my wife how lucky, because of course the kids and people want us to go back to the States, take me back to the States. And the friend told my wife how lucky we were that we were here, because here, this is in the midst of COVID, when it really was ramping up, June of 2020. And she could stay with me in the hospital every day, every night.
Oh.
And in the States, you couldn't get in the hospital. Our daughter, her husband was seriously injured. She took him to the hospital, and they met her at the door and said, "We'll call you when you can go home," and that's going to be in some weeks.
Yeah.
And so it was fortunate for us.
Yeah, very, because that was a rough time, boy.
Yeah. Well, we need to take our last break, or we're going to have a rough time with our sponsors. So,
no, we won't.
I don't want you to have a rough time with them.
Yeah. So hang in there, everybody.
We'll be right back.
Got a lot more here to talk about. So come back and we're going to be
At
talking
the end,
with
we'll
Callan.
be talking with all three of you, if JINX can handle it.
There you go.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than three-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
Have you wanted to publish your story? Have you thought about self-publishing? Today is your day. 5-star Amazon review. Self-publish your ebook on Amazon for free in 2024. This ebook is available on Amazon by Becca L. Jones.
Paradise, my prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
Hello, and we're back. George Dismukes wants to know, ever been to the Pink Zone in Guadalajara? I've been to the Pink Zone in Mexico City, but I lived in Guadalajara for 3 years, but I didn't even know we had a Pink Zone. The Pink Zone in Mexico City is where it's the zona rosa, and it's where all the shops and all that kind of stuff, high-end stuff is. Well, Kelly, it's your time.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
Pretty good. It's awfully dark, though. I mean, you can certainly tell that we're into a new time zone so much as
it does usually happen at nighttime, Kelly.
Well, yeah, but see, it's only 4:47 here on the West Coast.
Right.
So it's not even 5 o'clock, and it's pretty doggone dark. So
there you go.
Yeah. I hate time change. I don't like it. I want to just stay in one time instead of all this change. But daylight savings is for the birds.
Yeah.
Okay. So your newest foray into the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles is Justified Homicide. Oh, what a cover.
isn't he marvelous? And
Yes.
the cover is kind of unusual in the sense that the front, I had two covers and I couldn't make a decision. And I put it out to my beta readers and I said, well, which should I choose? It was that one. And I don't know if this will show up a little bit. This is maybe, this is the backside. And it's just, I had a vision of either her being dressed as a bride or her bloody wedding dress. And so I just decided I couldn't make a decision. So I said, well, I want the bride on the front and the wedding dress on the back. So there we go. I got a two for one. And I didn't put a lot of information on the back, just pretty much the code and in the picture. And there's just a little tagline in there, but I wanted the dress to dominate because he made a beautiful dress. This is Crispian Zerlborn, our marvelous artist that we all love.
He is. Yeah, he is great. I love him. Can I see that again, the back?
Sure. So as you see, and there's just there we go. It's just her dress and her, actually a friend of mine said when I explained, well, I'm thinking of just having her dress, bloody dress, and then her bouquet, and he's falling, and he says, oh, you got to just have the rose petals all over. So I actually changed the color of the bouquet to kind of match the dress. Originally, I had some purple lilacs in there, but I thought, no, just red and white and white wedding dress and blood all over. So
blood splattered all over.
There we go. So I really love the covers. I like this book, and I'll tell you why, because I think writing in first person with my character, her name is Madison Jackson. And just to give kind of a brief history in the previous books, she, of course, was the protagonist in all three of my Magnolia Bluff books. And she's a law enforcement officer with the Department of Wildlife in Texas and Parks and Wildlife, I believe it is. And so she's a law enforcement officer, and she can do things as simple as writing out tickets for not having a fishing license. But if a murder occurs, then she has more. I was shocked to find out she has more powers than a state policeman. So in the first book, she goes to Mexico to find the parents of a child that had been murdered near Magnolia Bluff. It was a child who'd been trafficked. And so that was the first book. And while she's there, she is kidnapped. She's sold on a slave auction and forced to marry a man who is a boss of a cartel. He's second in command. So that was book one. That was called Justice. And I've got I don't know if you can see it. I've got that was the cover that he did on that one. And I really love that. So that's book one. Book two. So she eventually is rescued. She comes back and her baby is kidnapped. And so it is the cartel boss that kidnaps the baby. So the second story is that. And the governor of Texas is very instrumental in helping to recover the child. So as part of a romance in that book, they fall in love. So book three, Justified Homicide, takes up where the governor and Madison are getting married. And the opening scene, and if I have time just to read a little bit from the opening scene?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And this is their wedding. This is the moment they're getting married. At this moment, it felt as if Dixon and I were the only two people in the room. He leaned forward and whispered, "Here you are, my beloved. You look like an angel." I felt angelic. My long lace wedding gown with a trailing 2-foot train. All I needed were a pair of wings. Buck nodded to Dix and passed my hand over to my future husband. His grasp was gentle and warm, and our fingers interlocked. My college roommate and maid of honor, Suzanne Rock, stepped sideways to the left, and I handed her my red and white rose bouquet. The long Catholic high mass began. Dixon's eyes never left mine as we declared our consent to be married and repeated our vows to each other. A surge of joy overwhelmed me. Tears spilled down my face and tickled my lips. Dixon teared as well. He took his thumb and brushed away the moisture beneath my eyes. Later, as we knelt for communion and I accepted the body of Christ on my tongue, I prayed silently to my Savior, thanking him for the precious gifts he had given me. At the end of the Mass, Father Lee raised his arms and said, "Let us welcome for the very first time as husband and wife, Dixon and Madison Tucker." I looked over the congregation and noticed a stranger in the back who stepped into the aisle. Dressed in a black suit and fedora, he appeared to be Hispanic. His hat was pulled down to meet the oversized shades he wore. He reached inside his jacket pocket and withdrew a gun. I didn't have time to yell a warning. A loud explosion ripped through the exuberant crowd. My chest caught the searing blast. I fell backward on the steps behind me and dragged Dixon with me. I watched a growing circle of blood stain the front of my wedding dress. The last thing I heard before slipping into unconsciousness was Anna screaming, "Mama, Mama." So that's the opening chapter. And it's, I don't know what to say too much because you don't want to give too much away. It's pretty hard not to have a spoiler. But
yeah.
So begins the saga here, and it's a long. So inside this book, I think there's, for me anyway, as a writer, there's a lot more character development. I think normally with murder mysteries, sometimes I get caught up all in the action. But with my main character so damaged, so wounded, so hurt, there's a lot that goes into her healing, and also there's some subplots too, because Madison was not honest with her husband about everything that happened in Mexico, and now,
whoops,
and now her priest, during a confessional, said, it might be time to tell the truth, and the truth is devastating to their relationship. And I will just say that she ends up getting charged with murder. So
wow.
It's a dramatic story, but I think as an author, I spent a lot of time developing the emotional side of it too, where before it was just kind of a wham bam thing. Wham bam. How do you want to put that? When you're writing a series, I want to be careful here.
You know the way it's usually put.
But the action normally takes over in some of these thriller type books. But I think for Madison, there's a lot of self-discovery and a lot of healing.
So Justified Homicide is book 30 in the series, and it's releasing November 20th.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
they can currently pre-order it for, is it on
99 cents?
There you go.
We got it for 99 cents.
That's what we paid.
Oh,
but
good.
Thought you gave us a special deal.
Oh, yeah. Right.
But, well, I hope everybody enjoys it. I'm very proud of this book. I think when I think of the books that I've written, my previous books were a little, Magnolia Bluff, I think, is Crime Chronicles are a little more cozy, I should say, than what I used to write. But I think writing this series has really developed me, I think, as an author. And I'm very proud of that. And having the relationship with you all, 12 other authors, actually 14, I guess, if you count the two of you and
Rox and Charles.
Yeah. But I think that it has been, I don't want to cut you short on time here, but we
got all the time in the world today.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to get that in, that it has helped me develop as an author. And so I'll cut it off there.
Joe Conjal said that was a great idea to use both pictures.
Thank you.
Then he said, great read, Kelly. Sounds amazing. Paul Hollis said, exciting read. Yeah, Jim was talking about a hook. That was quite a hook.
No.
And then Joe Conjal says, hi, Kelly. Just curious, what made you decide to write Madison in the first place?
Strong female character. Just
in the first person. You wrote it in the first person. Ooh.
Right. Well, almost every book I've ever written has been in third person, and it was kind of, well, I have to, when you're typing and then you slip into she instead of I, but I think it enables you to really look through the eyes of the protagonist, and to develop the emotions is a lot easier in first person.
Was easier in the first person?
Right. I think, as she's experiencing these emotions, as she is, because the spotlight's on her, it was easier for me to write at first person.
So okay. Yeah. Did you write the whole book in first person?
Yes.
I find that really difficult.
Because everything has to be through her eyes.
That's why I find it difficult. I like omniscient. Wait a minute, Jim just said something. Hold on a second, Jim. We've got to unmute you here. Go ahead. What did you say, Jim?
Oh, I said she got shot right there, and you think, my gosh, she was the first person, but now she's shot, so she has to come back.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's a giveaway, isn't it?
Oops.
That's a giveaway.
No, it was a save, because I'm thinking that's terrible. I don't know. And then I said, no, it's okay. It's in first person. She'll be back.
Anytime a main character is hurt early in the story, they're going to survive. But that's okay. But
well, people kill off their main characters sometimes. They do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. CW, one of our other members, has been talking about
offing certain people.
Yeah, getting rid of some of the characters that we all use, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, now what are we going to do? So, yeah.
That's the fun thing about Magnolia Plot.
It's a unique town. Wow.
When you write your book, you're thinking, okay, at the last minute, am I going to have to change something because somebody just got killed?
That's actually happened to me.
It's happened to multiple people.
Yes,
and he had to warn me because I wrote this character and she was just it was kind of a minor thing. And then CW said, well, she's dead.
Yeah.
So, oops, I had to pick a different character.
Yeah. I know. I said to Rob, I said, you need to write this person as a do not kill. And he said, why? Because it was somebody that I really liked, it was a person I really liked. And he said, why? Because she wasn't like a real main character. And I said, because I want to kill her. I don't want any of you killing her before I get the chance. which is very rude for somebody that I really like.
We've got some very unique characters in this town. You think of Fergus, Mary Lou Fight. Let's see. Emma, or I'm thinking of the Methodist minister. Her name is Emily. Is it
Ember?
Ember. And she is so unique. Here she dresses in this long dark dress, but woo! In his last book, let me tell you,
she wasn't in that long black dress very long.
Ooh, yeah.
Richard Twin said
he surprised me with that one. It was like, wow.
Did he?
Yeah, I thought, wow.
Richard Twin says, we're a kill happy bunch. We are. Oh my gosh. Richard,
get our frustrations out, don't we?
Yeah, Richard's latest book also was really good. That
I use a couple of his main characters. They
Mike
are,
Hewlett.
Yeah, his Mike, because Madison and Mike have a synchronicity, and they were never. I think there was some mutual attraction for a while, but nothing ever developed. And Mike got married and all of that, but they had kind of a synchronicity. And so also Jack Rice, which is one of his main characters in his latest book.
I love Jack Rice.
He features very significantly in my new book. So I think you'll like
excellent.
Those. Yeah.
Excellent. So I like his character.
And so, I mean, that's the wonderful part of having this association is being able to grab a character and they're already developed. You don't have to develop it yourself because,
right.
And Jim, I've called on Jim about, let's see, let me think of his name here. I'm having one of his senior moments here. Well, no, it's the Ranger, Dick Richards. That's his name.
Yes.
And he's very prominent in this book as well. And I think you'll enjoy that, Jim.
Good.
And I've actually had Jim and Richard write portions of my book because I thought, well, would you write this because Richard's character is a psychologist. So I said, well, what would you say to my character? And the same with Jim. He wrote some, and that was probably, I believe, in Justified that I asked you to do that. But they were so good with their characters that they offered a little piece of, their great writing in my book. So,
well, we use Father Lee Gorman quite a bit in our book.
He's very instrumental in this book too. So.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
He's not your Father Frank, Jim, but he is a good priest nonetheless.
That's true. That's true. And it was a struggle to differentiate those two so they would be separate characters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I get that. George Dismuke says, in Paradise, My Prison, the main character gets knocked off.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Hello. If you haven't bought the book, now you need to buy it to find out what that's all about.
It's such a shock sometimes, I think. When just a little story here, I did a podcast. I wrote a book as a podcast, and I was doing it with another radio personality because we had worked together in radio years ago, and he was cheap. He didn't charge me anything. And so we did a podcast. And in the middle of the book, we had a pretty intense disagreement. And so I said, well, I'm not doing this anymore. And then I woke up and I thought, oh, you just killed your book, because I was posting this on my site. And I think, well, what do you do now, Blondie? So anyway, I thought, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shoot him, and he's going to be unconscious in a coma in the hospital. So the second half of the book, my character had to carry the whole load. And I sometimes had second thoughts about what I did. But the last scene is, his name is Nick, the character that I put in a coma. He wakes up and he says, hello. And I actually had my grandson, since I was no longer on a speaking terms with this other person, my grandson went in and said, he came in and gave a kind of a croaky hello, so I was able to salvage it. But it was one of those things that, I guess I think authors, sometimes two authors together, I don't know if you guys run into this, but a friend of mine co-wrote a book with another author, and it was very difficult. There was a lot of disagreements. And so I kind of ran into that with this other person, and it was almost pretty disastrous. I would have hated to leave my entire audience just dangling because I didn't know what I was going to do. So I just shot.
Yeah, we're married, so we can't disagree then. The marriage would be over. Never mind the book. Joe Conchel said, I used Father Lee too. Great character. Yeah, I like Father Lee. He will be predominantly used in our next book too, Jim, as a matter of fact. He needs to be in them now.
Somebody kills him in the meantime.
Yeah, don't kill Father Lee.
Who's on the no
kill. Kill.
Oh, good.
It's going to be interesting.
George just said it was one hell of a surprise to Charlie. That's his main character.
Yeah, in Paradise, My Prison.
In Paradise, My Prison.
So what does Father Lee, I think about paranormal? That's going to be an interesting.
Well, he was big time in the paranormal in this one. And as a matter of fact, there's a reason for that, because spoiler alert for our book, but the Catholic Church has seen a great increase in the need for exorcisms. True, they're having to teach more and more priests on how to do exorcisms.
Netflix had an exorcism by a priest that's what he does. It was pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. So
all those critters that are out there.
Yeah. And when you think about it, church is all about the supernatural.
Mm-hmm. A spirit is a spirit.
Holy Spirit and spirit.
Yeah.
It's all spirit. Yeah. It's really good. It's awesome. So yeah, I think priests are, great to use in paranormal. And we love Father Lee, and I like his character. I love the way that Richard uses him in his book as a sounding board for Dr. Mike Hurlick, because Dr. Mike needs somebody to talk to.
I envision Father Lee having maybe, because we know sometimes he has tennis shoes underneath his basketball, and I can just envision, well, maybe he's got his running shorts on under there too.
Yeah. Priests don't always have to be in, black collar.
No.
Especially when they go out drinking at the bar.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Priests can drink. Just letting you know. Catholic
Well, they
Church.
do every mass. They do.
Yeah, well, that's not the same. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with priests drinking. It's not against church canon, so. Can you tell I was brought up in an Irish Catholic home? With priests and nuns in my family? It's like, I may or may not know a little bit about it. You were going to say something?
No.
No, you
Not
forgot
really.
what you were going to say?
No, I wasn't.
It happens.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask each of you because Joe hasn't asked, so, and I'm sure the audience wants to know. We'll start with JINX. JINX, are you a plotter or a pantser?
Oh, I'm a pantser. Absolutely. I sort of come up with a subject and go with it. And the end could easily change as I go through. I'm not very good at pre-scheduling, all my chapters and everything. No, that takes all the fun out of it for me.
Even the title can change.
Yeah,
At the last minute.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm going to have to tell Chrisfield because he's already working on the cover.
That's what I was going to say. It's like,
Well, let me throw this out there. Which do y'all like better?
Oh, we're definitely pantsers.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Conspiracy. I like conspiracy. If you're asking about the title.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, it's not the
Oh,
title.
which?
Oh,
Oh, you mean the title?
Yeah.
Which
yeah,
title
Blue
do we
Bonnet
like?
Conspiracy.
Yeah.
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 That's
Oh,
that's
Blue
the
Bonnet
BBC.
Conspiracy is so much better.
I think
Really?
so too.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
no doubt.
I changed the title on this book after the artist was already developing the cover. Fortunately, it was sort of the same number of words, and it was not difficult for him, but it was that far along. And I had talked with a lot of people, and I finally said, "Gee, I'm wrong. They're right. I'm going to change the title. It has more to do with the book." And so he had actually had given me several mock-ups on it with the other title. But it was simple for him to change it, so it wasn't too difficult.
Well, that was good. I mean, that it was simple for him to change it. Yeah. And what about you, Jim? Are you a plotter or a pantser?
I'm a combination. Before I start the book, I think about it a lot. And I have a lot of ideas of how it's going to go, not chapter by chapter or whatever, but a lot of ideas of how it's going to go. And I would like to have a possible ending. Now, in reality, that possible ending almost never gets in there because once I start writing it, the characters influence how it goes. But I feel more comfortable starting to know, okay, there's a possible way I can get out of this. And it rarely gets there, but it comforts me as I'm starting out that I can. So I'm sort of a combination.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think most of us are a little bit of a combination because we kind of
you
have an idea where you want to go and you have an idea. And I mean, really, you think about it a lot before you start to write. Don't you?
I wrote a book on character development. And one of the things that I said was you have to spend time just sitting and listening to your character, communicating with your character. And if you do that, they really do give you feedback and they will change the way you're doing things if you're open to listening to them. Maybe it's a spirit, I don't know, but I do believe that if you will have quiet time and listen, they will give you some guidance.
Now, in A Chance of a Ghost, we were really committed to it just being strictly the way we run an investigation because we wanted people to see what a paranormal investigation was like instead of all this foo-fa-ra that you see on TV. And but then the two ghosts were kind of like hello, we have a lot to say here. And they kind of took over, and they were my favorite part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's never happened in a paranormal investigation where two spirits were busy. Or it might have been, I don't know. We never heard them. Yeah. So
Well,
Joe
we'll-
Michael said humans jinx pants their covers, but what he really meant was Jim and Jinx, not humans. Jim and Jinx pants their
I
covers.
suppose, Joe, you're going to blame AI for that.
No.
And George Dismuke says a chance of a ghost was a stronger influencer in Song of San Leon, Texas. Yeah. RadioFreeGalveston.com. Last message got garbled, Dan. I knew what you meant.
Drat.
You drat. I was saying dang, he wrote drat.
I went to see
yes.
author. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I went to see author Jeffrey Deaver, and he gave a very, I mean, it was one of the best seminars I had ever been to. But he believes in just outlining every single thing, and I'm not. I usually do about 3 sentences, beginning, middle, end, so I know where I'm going with it. And like the rest of you, I would, my characters would take off. But I tried it his way, and I just couldn't do it. I made a very organized. I'm sorry about the phone going off in the background. I forgot to shut it off. It's like going to church and you got someone over down the pew there as their phone's going off.
It's a movie producer calling. It's a movie producer calling.
Yeah, it's a movie producer.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? But in any case, I tried it his way, and I got so bogged down, I lost almost interest in my story. And so I just threw it away, and I went back and said I went back to my 3 sentences or 4 sentences, and that worked for me.
Linda Purtle is a plotter. She's not a pantser. She's a plotter. She believes in plotting. She plots it all out.
She's a school teacher, though, and she knows.
He was an English teacher and a principal.
Outlining.
George Dismuke said, I was trying to keep it clean, what he said about the Song of San Leon. And to all the authors, do your characters come to life? To all of you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. Yep. Joe Conjal said, Deaver's a great writer, but there are a lot of great writers that are pantsers. You meant pantsers. There's no one way to write a novel. You said pantsers.
My cat perked up his ears because that's his name.
Pantsers. There's that AI again. Oh yeah, a lot of great writers are pantsers. And there's no doubt about it. It's interesting to me that, for the last few years, POV has been a big discussion, and a lot of discussion about POV and not changing POV and all that kind of stuff. But if you look at a lot of the classics, they will go from third person to first person to second person. I mean, I just think you need to write the way you write, the way you feel it, and then it's going to be true to you, like I said, I prefer third person. Someone sitting next to me likes first person.
No, I think I like.
I won you over.
The way a chance it goes, man.
Okay, good, because we wrote that all in third person omniscient. That's what I like. Third person omniscient. They know everything that's going on. And yes, Jim.
Well, years ago, I wrote a mystery novel with my youngest daughter in third person, and I'll comment on her afterwards. And we could not sell it. We tried and could not sell it, and we put it away. And a year later, I came back and I said, I'm going to redo that. And I rewrote it in first person. Sold it within a month. Same story. Sold it within a month. Who knows what that means? But so, it can make a difference. She writes mostly middle grade to young adult books, and she probably has 100 published. I tell her though that they're smaller than ours. But she is very prolific. But and commenting, somebody was talking about working with somebody, and Kelly, you had trouble with working with somebody. I was very worried because we had such a great relationship. Here she is an adult, and she's but very strong-minded, and writers often are. And I was very concerned that it might be disastrous for us, that we would butt heads too often. But it was a great thing. It was absolutely a great experience. And I think it brought us closer together. So,
well, maybe some books just need to be written in first person and others in third,
Could be, or I just hit the right agent at the right moment.
Well, there you go. There's that too. George Dismuke says, one of my characters keeps getting in the fridge and drinking up all of my beer. All characters are very real.
Good.
Tell him to get out of your fridge. Yeah, the characters are very real. If your character isn't real, how is it going to be real to the person reading it?
I hope so.
Right?
We certainly hope so.
Yeah,
Yes.
if it's not real to you, how could it possibly be real to somebody reading the book?
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
I get a lot of readers who write me and say, I want Hedda to be my friend.
Yeah.
Or I
Isn't
wish
that
I had a
great?
friend like Hedda or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'd love to get that feedback because
Yeah.
that means that they're relating to her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Enough to even make a comment about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I've had a number feel that way about Father Frank.
Yeah.
We need him here at our church. Or
I
whatever.
wish he was my parish priest, right? That kind of a comment. Yeah.
Jim, do you get any confessions?
Well, he had a tough time in those. I wouldn't want that job. I wouldn't want to have that job.
Nope. Yeah. Yeah, it can be tough. Really, seriously tough. Ugh. Don't even want to think about it. And then they can't do anything with it. If they did get a murderer come in and confess it, they can't do anything about it.
That's fine. It's tough.
A seal of the confessional. Then that's the end of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, well, one of our readers, and I don't want any spoilers here, so I'm not going to say why this was so sad, but at the end of the book, she was very sad about what happened to one of the characters and made her cry. And instead of saying, I'm sorry, I was like,
good.
Yay. It made me cry when I wrote it. So
my work here is done.
There you go. Time to go home.
Thank you.
Well, I won't add a spoiler here, but I did have one of my beta readers write back and say, you can't do this.
What?
You cannot do this. I said, well,
right.
I don't know. I didn't say it. I thought a long time about it. And I finally said, no, it has to happen. And if you read, those of you who read the book know probably what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, that's great for someone to say you can't do this because it means that they're so very much invested in that they don't want that to happen. No. And it's like, oh my God, that's fabulous. She was trying to give me constructive criticism to say it shouldn't have ended like that. Well, that is the way we wanted it to end. And it was supposed to make you feel that way. You were supposed to feel like, no.
I had a beta reader who dropped me. She didn't want to, because I would not change my manuscript to put in the way she thought it should be worded. And I thought, well, adios.
Yeah.
They're very helpful sometimes. Like I said, I was raised in an Irish Catholic home, and so in our other series, one of the main characters her name is Siobhan, which to me is, everybody knows the name Siobhan. Well, one of our beta readers said, how do you say that name? And is that Swedish? And I'm like, Swedish? It's Irish for Joan. I'm sorry. So then we had to put it in parentheses, how to pronounce it, and that it was Irish for Joan. Joe Conjal said, those are mic drop moments for a writer. Yeah, when people like your beta reader and, and Jim's and stuff, it's like, yeah, you live for that, right?
Yeah.
Well, what about your opening chapter of yours? Your latest one, Joe. I mean, the opening chapter, we're all like, he did not do that. Holy crap. Catch a tiger by the toe. It's like, you can't do that in the first chapter, Joe. It was shocking.
Well, at least he didn't. Oh, never mind.
I told him you can never kill your dog in that series.
I made that mistake once.
Oh, you never kill the dog.
Oh.
Well,
you can
I
kill
know.
people, but you can't kill the dog.
I know. Well, I didn't kill the dog, but he died, and I had someone called me from an airport, and she said, "JINX, everyone in this bar is looking at me like I'm crazy because one minute I'm laughing and then I'm crying."
Crying because the dog died.
Of course, you should have seen me writing it.
That's yeah, exactly. Joe Conchal said it was definitely different, LOL, the way he opened up Catch a Tiger by the Toe. Oh my God. And he said, but effective. Yeah, I'll say it was quite a shocker. Like,
yeah.
Wait, what did I just read? Let me go back and read that again. Yep, that's what happened. All right. Well,
yeah,
I guess we should. Oh gosh, we're on going on an hour and a half. We should end the show. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, everybody listening and watching.
Yeah, it's been fun.
For joining us too. I'm going to move you guys over to the side. Just stay right where you're at until we come back to you. Joe Conjal says, enjoyed the show tonight as always. Thanks to JINX, Jim, and Kelly. And of course, Rob and Joan.
Thank you.
And Paul Hollis says, wonderful time. Thanks, Rob, Joan, JINX, Jim, and Kelly.
Thanks, Paul.
It's a lot of thanks.
Richard Schwint says, night, everyone.
Night, everyone. For sure.
Good night, Richard.
Good night. So I want to remind everybody next week, next Wednesday, right here where you're at right now, we're going to talk with Sarah Driscoll. And next Thursday is the Haunted Campfire Tales with Tampa Bay Spirits.
And you'll see evidence from our May stringer.
We do on our side job.
Our side job, yes. Our side job that takes up all our time and money.
And doesn't pay.
And doesn't pay.
Kind of like writing.
Kind of like writing. Just like writing. We have two very odd jobs.
Yeah.
And podcasting too, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. That doesn't pay. Okay. Anyway. All right. Well, until next time.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks. See you.
Thank you. Bye.
Live Every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen G's welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-TV.